President Trump's latest executive order erases environmental efforts during the Obama administration.
Some students paid a lot more money for their water and power than they should have. Find out how the city plans to pay them back.
LA protesters call on California Senator Dianne Feinstein to address their concerns. Find out their demands next. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The action I'm taking today will eliminate federal overreach, restore economic freedom, and allow our companies and our workers to thrive, compete, and succeed.
President Donald Trump's latest executive order raises concerns about the future of climate change in the U.S. Good evening, I'm Brad Stryker.
And I'm Juliette Muir. The order removes the Clean Power Plan enacted during President Obama's administration and removes restrictions on the coal industry.
With today's executive action, I am taking historic steps to lift the restrictions on American energy, to reverse government intrusion, and to cancel job-killing regulation.
The administration says the executive order titled Energy Independence will focus on restoring jobs in the coal industry. The order will lift a short-term ban on new coal mining on public lands and restrictions on methane releases at oil and gas facilities. It will also eliminate fracking restrictions on public lands. Trump says he hopes his plan will bring back energy jobs. Yet many are skeptical that this order will do that.
So far, this particular administration has rolled back several environmental regulations that actually compromise the EPA's ability to regulate air and water. Fortunately, you can't have it both ways. You can't take away all the regulation and also protect the environment. There has to be some balance of those priorities.
Mayor Eric Garcetti responded to President Trump's executive order saying, quote, "Nothing can stop us from investing in electric cars and mass transit, from ending our reliance on coal, or from leading America in solar power. Los Angeles will uphold the obligation to preserve the health of our planet, protect our most vulnerable residents, and create a 21st century economy." The executive order does not address any future changes to the U.S. involvement in the 2015 Paris Agreement, which includes significant steps to reduce global pollution.
The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power sent out letters today letting customers know they could be eligible for reimbursement. A pending class action lawsuit found the department overcharged hundreds of thousands of LA residents. Charlotte Garrett remembers November as a pretty typical month in her apartment.
Our habits were pretty regular, normal.
But then her water and electricity bill came from LA's Department of Water and Power.
So our bill was over $1,000 and it was over twice as much as we normally pay.
Her other bills range from about $200 to $300.
Everyone just didn't believe it at first, like we thought it was crazy.
The bill didn't make a whole lot of sense. It's not like they were using more water than they normally do. As it turns out, LADWP made a pretty big mistake.
Approximately 800,000 out of roughly 2.2 million ratepayers that may have been overbilled.
Michael Libman is one of the attorneys who helped file a class action lawsuit against LADWP.
It is not right, and the purpose of the lawsuit is to make sure that this wrong receives an appropriate right or appropriate correction.
Now the DWP could owe more than $67 million to its customers. We reached out to the department several times, but no one was available to speak with us. But LADWP released a statement saying it plans to reimburse customers for 100% of the amount overcharged. Garrett hasn't received a letter yet, but she says she's absolutely expecting reimbursement.
If they said that they're going to give people back what they owe, then yeah, we definitely should get reimbursed.
If the settlement moves forward as planned, LADWP says customers can expect to receive reimbursements starting in September.
An open hearing on the House Intelligence Committee was canceled today. This meant former Acting Attorney General Sally Yates could not testify in the investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Yates would have testified about National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who was fired after misleading Vice President Pence. House Democrats say the move was deliberate. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer defended the decision.
I hope she testifies. I look forward to it. It was never, let's be honest, the hearing was never was actually never notified. If they choose to move forward, great. We have no problem with her testifying. Every single person who's been briefed on this, as I've said ad nauseum from this podium, that they've been very clear that there is no connection between the president or the staff here and anyone doing anything with Russia.
California Democrat Adam Schiff responded saying, quote, "We would urge the open hearing to be rescheduled without further delay and that Ms. Yates be permitted to testify freely and openly so that the public may understand when the president was informed that his national security advisor had misled the vice president and through him, the country." Protesters gathered today outside Senator Dianne Feinstein's LA office calling for a meeting to discuss Russian collusion investigations and Neil Gorsuch's Supreme Court nomination.
Show me what democracy looks like.
It's a good opportunity for people to take a break on their lunch, stand in front of Senator Feinstein's office, and let their voices be heard.
Protesters demanded a meeting with Senator Feinstein. They're calling for an investigation into Russian collusion, and they want to make sure she votes against the Supreme Court nomination of Neil Gorsuch.
Right, this is your office. This is your senator. And this is your city, and I'm here working on your behalf. And so I want you all to know that that's what we keep in mind, and the senator wouldn't have it any other way, okay?
A representative from the senator's office told protesters their voices would be heard and told them to request a town hall meeting with the senator online.
U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that cities unwilling to enforce federal immigration policies may lose funding from the Department of Justice. But two law experts say they are not worried about the future of federal funding here in California.
Well, I think it's clear that the Trump administration is making the threat to withhold money from sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and I think it's clear that they're going to try to do something. What is much less clear is what legal authority the federal government has to carry out some of the threats.
I mean, I don't really think it changes the status quo. And I think that, other than letting us know how the government feels about sanctuary cities, which is clear, I don't think it has any practical effect on local governments.
Malibu and Santa Ana are two local communities that recently voted to become sanctuary cities. Students on campus are wondering what President Trump's executive order means for them and the environment. Alex Salvi is here at Ground Zero, where students are discussing the impact of these changes. Alex?
That's right, guys. We're here right outside of Ground Zero here on USC's campus, outside of a discussion that's being called California versus the United States. Now, the whole point of this discussion is to inform students on what California is doing to combat climate change during a Trump administration.
Well, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties, but coming up next, an LA man is free after serving 20 years in jail for a crime he did not commit.
California Congresswoman Maxine Waters is mocked by Fox commentator Bill O'Reilly. Find out how students respond to his comments.
And you might see colorful trash cans like this at USC Spring Fest on Saturday. Find out why up next.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on... Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
That's low.
Look, he's going.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
Let's go back to Alex Salvi at Ground Zero, where students are discussing the impact of Trump administration changes. Alex?
We apologize, we're having some slight technical difficulties, but nonetheless, I'm here right outside the Ground Zero Coffee House right here on USC's campus for the discussion being called California versus the United States, which is a discussion that is telling people what California is doing to combat climate change in a Trump era. Now, inside, Bob Strum is the moderator for a number of different USC professors, whether it be earth science, political science, or international relations, and they're talking to students about what they can do in order to be active in this political climate. Now, this coincidentally comes the same day where the Trump administration signed an executive order rolling back Obama administration regulations that were put in order to combat climate change. Donald Trump did so in the offices of the EPA, surrounded by a bunch of coal miners, who he said is going to once again put a stimulus package back into the coal and fossil fuel industries. Now, you may remember last year where President Obama signed the Paris Agreement, which was met with a little bit of backlash from House GOP members because he did so using an executive order. Now, Donald Trump is using the same type of method, an executive order, to once again roll back these regulations. However, he says that this won't have a serious implication on the idea of carbon emission footprint, saying that by the year 2030, he expects to reduce carbon emissions by almost 32%. Now, there are a number of different students here waiting to be active, and one of them is with me right now, Ashley Cianani. Now, Ashley, can you tell me why it is you came out here today?
Well, I'm part of the UNRU Associates program, so it's part of the program to come to these events. And then I'm also from Texas, where most people don't believe in climate change, so this is something important to me.
Now, the whole discussion is made not only for people who are curious about the subject matter, but in particular for students in general. So can you tell me why it's important for students to be activists in today's political climate?
I mean, there's so much political change going on right now, and I think students, especially in today's world, they realize that our actions now are going to affect our actions in the future. And with something like climate change, they know that making a difference now is going to make a difference in the future.
Ashley, thank you so much for talking to us today, and I hope you enjoyed the talk too. It sounds awesome. And Donald Trump did this today, and he said that he wants to end what he calls the war on coal. He said moving forward, this will be a great stimulus into the economy that will help create jobs and once again remove regulations that were stifling the economy, and says what he will once again do to promote a faster growing and a more stimulated economy. From Annenberg Media, I'm Alex Salvi. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Alex. A man who spent 20 years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit is finally free. Marco Antonio Contreras was convicted of attempted murder and robbery in 1996 in Compton. Today, his sentence was overturned.
Be patient and wait and not get too anxious for this day to come. Just stand for what is right and also have a sense of justice. Justice will prevail, and God is He's a source of justice, and I definitely seen that today.
Contreras' lawyers say his conviction was in part due to an inaccurate eyewitness identification. His vehicle was also spotted at the scene. Contreras said he loaned the car to someone else. Last week, 3 other men were charged in connection with the shooting. The LA Innocence Project and a team of lawyers at Loyola Law School have been working on the case for 3 years.
I'd have to say when I went to interview him in March of 2012, I went to Calipatria, which is where he was being detained, looked him straight in the eye, and I asked him to tell me if he was really innocent. He said, nobody's going to find out, it's just you and I here. Tell me, are you really innocent? I'm going to spend the next several years on your case, so I need you to be honest with me. If you're not innocent, I won't tell your family. This is attorney-client privilege. He looked at me straight in the eye, and he said, I'm innocent.
The Innocence Project exonerates those wrongfully convicted like Contreras through DNA testing. It's Islam Awareness Week around the world.
Our international news reporter Barbara Estrada talked to Muslim students about what they hope to achieve by introducing others to their faith and culture.
The Muslim Student Union at USC is holding colleges and universities around the world to inform and educate students about the Muslim founded by Muhammad.
So you're going to put one
this afternoon, a calligraphy workshop was held on campus. Students and people around
and you're going to leave like this is a dot, essentially.
And also, we're about to learn about the Arabic culture.
Create this shape
The goal of this Awareness Week is largely like creating compassion and resistance and empower through knowledge. As far as like the reaction from the university, it's been very overwhelmingly supportive, which is great.
Coming from a Christian background, like I go to these things and I have Christian friends and Muslim friends, and I'm always trying to tell them both, like, afford each other the same respect that you would want them to afford you.
The following events are planned for the remainder of the week, and as you can see, a list of speakers from an array of backgrounds are set to speak and educate students on campus. A tour of the nearby mosque on Vermont and exposition is scheduled this Friday for those who want to visit, as well as witness a sermon. Brad and Juliet, back to you.
Well, Brad, Springfest is this weekend, and I know a lot of students are excited to see Migos play.
That's right. Now that the lineup is out, a lot of things that students are wondering what's coming up is going to be with the weather. So let's check in with our weather anchor, Almond Lee, to find out what students can expect.
Right, Brett and Julia. Good evening, everyone. Still recovering from those blustery wind, but it's looking pretty calm right now. And now it is 74 degrees out there with the breezes of only probably 7 miles per hour, which is pretty nice. And for tomorrow's weather, let's go over to the mountains and take a look. Big Bear, we're looking at 33 degrees and mid 50s and 60s degrees in other areas. Now let's go check out the coast. Now we have 54 degrees at Malibu and also mid 50s in the areas around. Now coming closer to home, USC, we're looking at 58 degrees, and at LAX, we're looking at 56 degrees. Now this week, and coming up next is your 5-day forecast. We have sunny week along, and the temperature is going to be in mid-50s. Well, this weekend is Springfest. In addition to the live music, we have something new, live art. Students will be painting recycling bins live at Springfest. The theme this year at the competition is polar bears. 3 finalists will have 6 hours to finish their work, and the painting bins that you see here are from previous Coachella exhibitions. The Environmental Student Assembly and the Concerts Committee organized this event. They said art is a good platform to convey important messages like conservation.
So they have this bin battle where artists submit designs. It's polar bear bin based, so like kind of talking about conservation, since polar bears are kind of one of the keystone species for conservation. So artists submitted designs, we're selecting the winners, then they're going to paint those bins at Springfest on Saturday.
With that opportunity, we want to use that platform to also promote social responsibility. So that's very important to us and very important to USG as a whole.
Now, you know what? The winner of that competition will win 2 VIP tickets to Coachella. I'm very jealous, but I'm not very talented in art, so.
Yeah, definitely not the way for me to get to Coachella. I don't have the skills for it.
It's exciting that we get to see some artists play and also see some art while we're there.
All right, well, thanks, Almond.
Fox News host Bill O'Reilly seemingly mocked California Congresswoman Maxine Waters while watching a clip of her speech to the House of Representatives. Let's take a look at his reaction now.
America, we're saying to those who say they're patriotic, but they turn a blind eye to the destruction that he's about to cause this country. You're not nearly as patriotic as we are.
So what does that mean, Bill? We've been listening all morning. We cannot. I didn't hear a word she said. I was looking at the James Brown wig.
Public reactions to O'Reilly's commentary took over the Tritosphere today. We took to the USC campus to hear what students had to say.
I was looking at the James Brown wig.
That's just absurd.
So upsetting. Bill O'Reilly is truly one of the worst people in the entire world.
Nobody on Fox News is going to say anything against the Republican Party because they just want to get paid.
In a statement issued this afternoon, O'Reilly apologized, saying he respects Congresswoman Waters for being sincere and regrets his remarks. And, you know, I heard some of our sports reporters in the media center talking about Donald Trump today. Do you know why that is?
You know, I have heard about it, but I want to hear a little bit more from our sports anchor, Nathan Desai. What do you have for us?
Thanks, Juliet. Thank you, Brett. That's right. Today, politics meets sports here on ATVN, and it's because a tradition that dates back over a century is in jeopardy. Plus, we'll give you we'll bring you the latest news on Trojan football. Stay tuned, sports are next.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Yes, I am.
Move! Give it to him hard!
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stab me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh,
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to ATVN. Do you miss football? Well, consider this your reminder that USC's spring game is just over 2 weeks away. Head coach Clay Helton is still figuring out how to replace the 22 departing players, and some younger guys are still learning the ins and outs of the playbook. This week, Helton will welcome a few guests to campus as part of USC's coaching clinic. Reigning Pac-12 champion head coach Chris Peterson from the University of Washington will headline the group, along with assistants from the New York Giants, Los Angeles Rams, and Kansas City Chiefs. The coaches and even fans in attendance at the McKay Center will then get to see what they learn in action at a USC practice afterward. But for those looking for a fix of Trojan sports today, the USC baseball team is currently battling the San Diego State Aztecs here on campus. Our sports correspondent Terrence Davis is live at Dato Field with the latest on Trojan baseball. Terrence?
San Jose Aztecs going to the bottom. It's 0-0 right now. This team is going to do a few things.
We'd like to apologize. We're having a bit of technical difficulties, but the Trojans will make their next stop in Tucson when they face the Arizona Wildcats this weekend. On the other hand, USC's women's lacrosse team just got home from a rough road trip. The women of Troy went 2-2 on the East Coast and hope to return to their dominating form in front of their own fans. With only 7 games remaining in the regular season, the women of Troy will be looking to pick up some momentum before the postseason begins next month. And even though the team has struggled lately, senior MICHAELA has been dominant. She was named the MPSF Player of the Week for the 7th time of her career. In USC's last game, Michael torched the Ohio State Buckeyes for 6 goals, the 3rd double hat trick of her USC career. She'll look to continue that hot streak against Fresno State this weekend. And of course, you can't talk about hot streaks without mentioning the #1 USC beach volleyball team, who is edging closer to extending its win streak to a half-century. USC's win streak reached 47 with the win over Cal today. The women of Troy swept the Golden Bears 5-0, and they could get the big 5-0 this weekend when they head up the coast for the Monterey Invitational. USC claimed the Pac-12 Pair of the Week award for the 3rd time this year, and each time it has been won by a different pair. This week's winners were Therese Cannon and Nicolette Martin, who went a perfect 5 for 5 last week. In their first season as partners, Cannon and Martin have a 12-4 record. And lastly, we go to the Diamond for some presidential news. Today, the White House announced that Donald Trump will not throw out the first pitch at Nationals Park on opening day. The presidential first pitch is a tradition that dates back to 1910 with President William Howard Taft. Trump did throw a first pitch in Fenway Park in 2006, but will be unable to make it on Monday due to an alleged scheduling conflict. You know, I think it's a great tradition having the president throw out the first pitch. It's like baseball is America's national pastime, so it's tough to not see this president do it this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember back when Obama was kind of giving his first pitch, and it was definitely a cultural landmark, I feel like, a big moment for everybody.
Yeah, no, I just moved here from DC, so I used to go to Nats games all the time, and it was definitely like a special occasion when the president threw out the first pitch, so it's definitely hard to see that not happen this year.
And then back in the day after 9/11, George Bush threw a first pitch in Yankee Stadium, and it was a very powerful moment because you remember he threw it right down the plate, so it was a very big moment for America for something like that.
Yeah, especially with baseball being like the American pastime.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that a president would want to do.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Of course.
A popular driving app is partnering with a popular coffee place to help commuters get their morning fix.
We'll tell you more about it after the break.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
We have breaking news. A woman climbed up a high-rise construction crane this afternoon in downtown Los Angeles. It is unclear why she scaled up the ladder. Police are currently attempting to bring the woman down.
The popular navigation app Waze and Dunkin' Donuts are partnering to get commuters their caffeine fix a little bit faster. Dunkin' Donuts holders can now order coffee, donuts, and other morning snacks directly through the Waze app. Drivers are then guided to the nearest Dunkin' Donuts location where they can pick up their hot cup of joe without waiting in line. A more convenient way to pick up your coffee? I mean, that has executive producer Sam Burgum's name written all over it.
Well, for all the work she does, she deserves as much coffee as she wants.
She absolutely does. She absolutely does. What do you guys think? Will you be taking advantage?
Well, I mean, I'm not a coffee person, but donuts, it's definitely something that I want.
You seem like a donut kind of guy.
Oh, I totally am. I'm surprised no company has thought of a merger like that before. I think it's a great idea.
I completely agree.
Well, they'll definitely be getting from business from all of us. They'll be getting business from Sam for all the coffee, and especially me for the donuts as well. All right, well, thank you for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Brad Stryker.
And I'm Juliet Muir. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.